I like to do triathlon.
Meet Allysa Seely. She's a 26-year-old triathlete who will be competing for Team USA this August in Rio de Janeiro. Alyssa's journey to the Olympics hasn't been an easy one. Her story begins in 2008 when she first discovered a passion that would spark a fire within her.
My first triathlon was my freshman year in college. I didn't really know what it was, I just heard a lot about it. So yeah, I did my first triathlon in Tempe Town Lake. And I really just fell in love with it.
I knew she was passionate about the sport and wanted to get involved, so I tried to encourage her to just keep doing what she could.
The energy of everybody, the camaraderie, and just like the community is probably what made me really start to fall in love with it.
You could tell she had a passion for it, but I feel like whatever she did, she, put up there high to do her best.
So for my first triathlon, we'll just say I wasn't exactly totally trained. Crossing the finish line was quite an accomplishment.
Allysa was hooked, but the runner's high after her first competition wouldn't last long.
Probably only weeks, maybe a month later, I got pretty sick.
I was the one that told her she needed to go to the doctor and see what was going on.
I started getting tingling in my legs and my arms, and that kind of led to a loss of feeling and having trouble walking.
Allysa was diagnosed with Chiari-2 malformation and basilar invagination. This malformation occurs when the cerebellum, the portion of the brain responsible for basic movements, compresses into the spine. That pressure on her brain was the cause of Alyssa's struggles. Immediate surgery would be required.
There was a lot of skepticism about me ever running again. I've always been the type of person when somebody tells me I can't do something, like I'm gonna figure a way out.
But while the rest of the world focused on her recovery, Alyssa's mind was off running elsewhere.
So I was sitting in the hospital and in what they call neuro rehab, and all I could talk about was triathlon. I started running before I was really allowed to. My physical therapist wasn't too happy about that. And I remember telling her, I was like, sometimes you just have to fall down to figure it out. And she was mortified.
She went right back to her old life and she was going to do it herself. She didn't want a lot of help.
Aided only by the braces she wore on her legs, life seemed back to normal. But once again, her body would have other plans for her future.
The brain surgery and everything led to what they call spasticity, and it's where your muscles get really tight, and they were pulling my ankle out of its socket. I just got to a point that I didn't want to go through 6 surgeries or 5 surgeries, and so the next thing that was suggested was amputation. I decided for my lifestyle and what I wanted to do, amputation was the best option.
Allysa went through with the procedure, amputating her leg just below the knee. The combination of both brain surgery and amputation would certainly alter her lifestyle. However, Allysa would not submit to the normal problems that face those with disabilities.
There is a rate of depression that could be higher, drug use, and then the secondary conditions such as pressure sores that could really impact rehospitalization for people.
I don't have what's called proprioception, so that tells you where your body parts are, and I have very little sensation in most of my legs and diminished sensation in parts of my arms and torso.
Perhaps too stubborn to let anything bring her down, Allysa uses her experiences to bring a fresh perspective to both her family and team.
I've seen her, everywhere from the highest of her highs to, moments when she was in the hospital, and it's like she was always positive, always making a joke.
Just her willingness to work hard and just succeed and thrive.
It just makes you want to cry that she could, pour all that energy in from her, physically and from her heart and do so well.
Now, Allysa will bring that energy and drive to the largest stage of them all, the Summer Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro.
I was fortunate to earn a spot for our country at World Championships. Being the top finishing American, I was able to earn my way to Rio.
When she really saw the level that she could compete at, she sunk her teeth into it, and now look at her, she's going to Rio.
In the first Paralympics to ever showcase a triathlon event, Allysa knows a finish on the podium would be historic.
There's really no difference other than we're missing arms and legs or use wheelchairs.
Kids grow up either swimming, biking, or running, but this is an opportunity to get all three together.
It's the same sport, and I think that's part of the reason I like it. I love it so much.
Her focus needs to be on the Olympics, so I think she's focused there. And she's going to set that drive and just go full speed until it's over.
While a medal in the first Paralympics triathlon would add to an already incredible legacy, family and friends have other hopes for their triathlete.
At that day, I want her to give it all that she has, whatever 100% is for that day, and feel proud and honored to even just be there.
Just to be happy. I mean, of course I want her to win the Olympics, but to be happy.
Whether Allysa ends up on top of the Paralympic podium or not, she can rest knowing that she remained one step ahead of just about everything that dared get in her way.
The goal at the end of the day is to be at the top of the podium, but I'm not gonna, take anything for granted, and I know that it's gonna be a hard day out there, and the best athlete on that day is gonna end up on top.